Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing today? So as Dave said, I'll be doing the gospel moment this week, and the gospel moment of this week is on chapter 12, item 1, love your enemies. I'll read the message, and then we'll talk a little bit about the message. The message says the following. You have learned that it was said, you have loved your neighbor and hate your enemies. But I say to you, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who persecute or hostile you, so that you may be children of your Father who is in heaven, who makes the sun rise on the good and on the evil, and the rain fall on the just and unjust. For if you love only those who love you, what reward you will receive from it? Do not the publicans do that? If you greet only your brothers, what are you doing that others do not do? Do not the publicans do the same? I say to you that if your just is not more abundant than that of the scribes and the Pharisees, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. That's on Matthew chapter 5, item 20, 43 through 47. So I like the beginning of the message because it kind of shows the progress in the transaction that we go through, right? First, we are taught to hate our enemies. And Jesus came and said, no, love everybody. And the Spiritist Doctrine comes and tells us how, explain and help us, understand Jesus' message. So I really like the beginning that, it combines the progress that we are. Right? And when we see the message, it's still pretty hard because, love our enemies. It's so hard to love even the person that we love, they're close to us, especially love your enemies. So the beginning of the message, they explain saying the following. Love your enemies is the principle of charity, and love your neighbor is the principle of charity, and love your enemies is the supreme application of the same principle, and the possession of this virtue represents a great victory against selfishness and pride. And we know that one of the great obstacles to progress, and that's actually on the Spirit's book, question 785, what's the great obstacles to progress? It's pride and selfishness. So when we love, and especially how hard it is to love our enemies, it's much, much harder. And they continue the explanation, and they mention that the words and the language that we have is pretty poor, is not good or robustic. And they only don't say on this message, several messages of the gospel, several messages of the Spirit's books, they mention that we have very poor language. So they intend, to love that was not really like love our enemies, because if you put in concept, in reality, it's extremely hard to love somebody that you have no sympathy, that you are the complete opposite, that you don't feel alike, that you hate. So it's extremely hard. And if you think about it, like when you're in a location where everything is heavy, dense, you feel sad, you feel depressed, you feel angry, you feel hate. When you're in a place like this, you feel love, you feel protected, you feel compassion. So it's completely different ambient. And that applies to our life, to our people that we love and the people that we hate. Sometimes it's very hard, extremely hard, to combine those two. So Jesus' intent was more that not only love, but stop the hate. It's a beginning. Let's stop spreading the bad energy. Let's stop spreading bad thoughts. And I remember last week Dave mentioned that, when we speak something, we are the first one to hear, right? Because our ear is the closest to our mouth. Right? When we think about it, we are the first one to feel it because it's inside of us. So when we send bad word, bad energy, we are the first one to feel it. So instead of passing those information, those negative thoughts, let's spread love. It mentions that the only way to, destroy evil is with good. And I kind of like that, even though today there's a lot of bad news and a lot of bad things happen, the positive people say love will win. And Jesus told us that 2,000 years ago. So let's start with love. So to conclude, I will invite everybody, when we pray, whenever it is at the end of the today's sections or at home in the morning, whenever we pray, elevate your thoughts to your enemies. So you ask for forgiveness, for patience, ask your guardian angels for patience to deal with the situation. Yeah, we're not there yet to love them, but we need patience, we need love, we need understanding. So let's respect and spread the love. Thank you.